to introduce herself to you as well.
Sure. Good afternoon, folks. So I am also a career specialist with the Boston PIC. I'm with Brighton High School. So some of you guys have maybe been flooded with emails from me. If not, and you go to Brighton High School, let's connect. And I can throw my email in the chat if that is easier as well. But I am excited to be here.
Thank you, Ms. Price. We will be going over the PIC application process. If you guys have questions, we'll be responding in the chat over the course of the presentation, but we'll take questions also at the end. So that will be an opportunity for you to unmute yourselves and ask us any questions. Please pardon any music you might hear during the presentation in the background. My roommate is a music teacher, so you might get a little background music. So first, I do want to lead you guys to our website. So we have a student jobs website where you can get all types of resources. So if you guys are looking for jobs right now, it's going to lead you there. If you're thinking about PIC summer opportunities, and I'll elaborate on what those are, volunteer opportunities, enrichment programs. We have a ton of resources and jobs there. If you need resume help, let's say just you're trying to figure out how to do it on your own, or just like interview guides, we have that there, but we highly recommend that you connect with your career specialist to maybe navigate this website. Maybe they can just show you the ins and outs of it, but also they can just meet with you and spend like 30 minutes with you, let's say, for example, on a resume, whereas it may take you maybe a little bit longer to create one on your own. So definitely encourage you to check in with them, let them look at your resumes that you guys have worked on. If you guys have interviews coming up for summer jobs or any kind of job, whether it be in retail, we're happy to connect with you and help you prep for that. All right, so summer internships. There are a lot of different industry opportunities through PIC that you guys could get into. So if you have interest in any of these, so from business to technology, healthcare, life sciences, come to us. We're happy to help you navigate that space. It also includes law, architecture, engineering, and higher education. So when we say higher education, that means like some of the local universities hire students. So that could be like, it has been Harvard, Boston College, students who worked at their bookstores or dining services. So a lot of different things. I'm gonna focus on tech because that might be of more interest to most of you, but feel free to follow up with your career specialists to discuss some of these other sectors too. But I will have our career specialist list with emails and contact information at least, so that you can know how to reach them at the end of this presentation. So technology, it's definitely a booming industry in Boston. And so you can be doing anything from creating software to maybe creating robots. Different partners that we have are looking for young people who want to learn more and also contribute to their workspace. So when it comes to like a technology related job, these are some of the skills, not all, but some of the skills that they are looking for in students. So if you have some of these skills, whether they be, soft skills or technical skills, these are something that you can transfer to your potential technology internship. And as you can see at the bottom, these are some past technology partners that are likely to hire interns this summer again. So definitely recommend you to start thinking about, and you may have already, but what skills have you gotten through this program? What skills have you had prior and what you could convey in your PIC application, what you can convey during your interviews. So it's really important to start self-reflecting on what you're already able to bring, because you guys all have skills. So no matter where you are, there's something that you can bring to the table. And you can also highlight, what are things that you want to develop more skills in. So this is to kind of give you guys an idea of, maybe where you might work this coming summer, if you're interested in that space. And some jobs will be most jobs will be virtual. And then some do like a hybrid model of virtual and in person. So at least in the tech space. So that's something to think about. Pardon me. Let me make sure that's muted. All right. Some of the different roles, it could be in tech support, software development, web development, social media, database, data analysis work. So these are some of the roles that you might be, participating in, but just know that you will indicate that in the PIC application, what you're more interested in. And you'll also discover, you might be doing more office assisting, but also depending on the job or the location, you'll be learning some of these at the job. So if some of you are interested in maybe developing your coding skills, that's definitely something, depending on where you're placed, that you might develop. So it'd be good to kind of learn about that from each company during the interviews, what, even prior to the interview, what kind of work that they do and what your role might look like as an intern. All right, so basically the PIC summer internship process. So let's say let's look at this list again. And let's say that you wanted to work at, let's say, SoftBank Robotics. All right. So the first step would be to connect with your career specialist. Okay. Make sure that you've updated your resume with them, you've discussed options, and you're prepping for a summer job. So that's doing practice interviews, that's filling out the application and all that. So that's step 2, complete the PIC student jobs application. We are going to be looking at your responses. Employers are going to look at that. We're going to try to match you to a good fit or based on the interest you indicated. But then, employers are going to look at your responses. So you want to make sure that they're thoughtful, that even the grammar is, good, and that you really put effort into it, because people can tell when they look at applications. Then you're going to be interviewing with different companies. So it's important to make sure you're communicating well, being professional, showing up to the interviews and being on time. And then you want to work on the onboarding process. So let's break it down a little bit about the different steps. So when we say, you're applying for the PIC internship, make sure beforehand that you're really thinking specifically like how you envision your summer job this year, and like what are your goals, what kind of jobs or what kind of work are you trying to do this summer. Help try to reflect that in your resume. So maybe update it and indicate like what your interests are. So if it's in tech or something specific, try to do that in your resume, and feel free to reach us to help you do that. Then you're going to be applying for the PIC summer job application. So you can see this is what the link is. However, it's not live yet. So our application is launching next week, but you want to make sure that you're communicating with your career specialist. They're aware that you have done the application when it's completed, and that you're, communicating well where you are, so that they can best support you and help you through the process. Please keep in mind that some of the employers do ask for additional materials. So think about, if needed, if you'd be able to ask, 1 or 2 teachers or someone maybe from this program, who would be able to like talk about you in a letter of recommendation, who might be able to write a good reference on your behalf about what you could bring to the job. Make sure that you have access to your report card, or you know that you'd have to ask your guidance counselor for a report card, possibly not for all, but some internships. Some need transcripts just to check attendance, and you might need to do an essay or short essay, depends on the industry. Start gathering your documents. So, you're applying with the hopes that you do get a job. And so you're gonna need to have, some kind of ID, a photo ID specifically. So it could be a student ID, it could be a green card, US passport. Just make sure that you have a government photo ID, okay? And then also a social security card is really important. Sometimes if it's just a student ID, right, with the picture that you're submitting, you may need to add a birth certificate. So start thinking about, like, do you have these documentation? If you don't, then you should, if you need to make an appointment with the Social Security card office, or if you need to ask your parents about where these things are, this is really important for you to start thinking about, where are these documents that you need to work. All right, so you've been collecting your documents, you got notification that one of the employers are like really interested in interviewing you. Just make sure that you confirm with them and let your career specialist know that you've been, send an email about an interview. Make sure that you are on time for that. Put a reminder on your phone or in your calendar. And then just let your career specialist know if anything at all comes up, or if you have any, concerns prior to the interview, and let your career specialist know how the interview went. We also say, like, it's good to write a thank you email after your, interview, and your career specialist can help you create that, or at least guide you, give you an example of what that could look like. Especially for some of these tech internships, you really want to try to stand out because they're looking at a smaller pool of students. And then look out for the email from your employer or from your career specialist about whether you've been given an offer or not. So, when you receive an offer, you just want to make sure that you're on the lookout for those, and make sure that you talk with your families to make sure that, you're sure that you're going to be participating before you either accept or decline. And then make sure you're putting important dates about, any orientations coming up or paperwork deadlines. Like, these are the things that you should start thinking about now, so that you know how to prepare for doing that summer internship. So again, we really want you guys to check out our student resource website. And this is also next week when the application launches, you'll be able to access that through that website or through the one that I mentioned earlier in the presentation. But this is, a list of your career specialists. So feel free to screen grab this. All the BPS schools are listed here. So as mentioned, Ms. Price and Ms. Gomez are on, but there are other people on our team that might be, your representative for your school. So definitely reach out to them. And now we will take questions. So I'm going to stop sharing. And are there any questions at all from what we've discussed? Let us know in the chat, like, what kind of internships you guys would be interested in this summer. You can also unmute yourself as well.
I'd probably like to see something related to digital art or 3D. Those are probably the ones that interest me.
Cool. And nice to see you, William. I know have worked with you in the past, so it's good to see you in this space. But yeah, definitely, I would recommend like for example, I would set up a meeting with you and the new career specialist at JQ and say, you know, this is what William's interested in, and we would try to connect you to that. But yeah. Any other interests, like specifically for this summer?
Alex put in the chat something that involves coding, web development, or PC hardware.
Very cool. So it's really important that you guys like indicate this in your resume if you haven't already, because that's really going to be helpful for the matching process. Absolutely. Do you guys have any questions for myself, Ms. Gomez or Ms. Price? Anywhere? So I said, anywhere I can make good connections. Absolutely. Like these are really great networking opportunities. So I've known students who have been able to like maintain relationships with some of the employers they started with, and it could lead to like a more long-term opportunity, whether it be during the school year or returning like, you know, on next summer or while you're in college. So definitely try to think about maintaining connections here. Next week, we're going to be back and we're going to be focusing on interviews and, you know, giving you guys tips on how to prepare for that.